You've probably seen them 100 times without thinking twice. Crawling on your kitchen counter, marching in perfect lines along the sidewalk, or building little hills of sand in your backyard. Ants. Tiny, seemingly insignificant insects. Easy to ignore, easy to crush. But what if I told you these miniature creatures are hiding a secret? A kind of intelligence that scientists are only just beginning to understand. What if ants are a lot smarter than we ever imagined? In fact, the more we study them, the more we realize ant intelligence doesn't just challenge our assumptions about insects, it challenges our very definition of what it means to be smart. Now, when we talk about intelligence, most of us think about human-like traits. Solving math problems, using tools, speaking languages, writing symphonies, or maybe programming artificial intelligence. But nature doesn't always follow our rules. Intelligence isn't just about individual brain power. It can also be about collective behavior, the ability of a group to work together in complex, adaptable, and even creative ways without a central leader. And in this department, ants are not just impressive, they're mind-blowing. Let's start with the basics. An ant's brain is minuscule. It contains about 250,000 neurons. Compare that to a human's 86 billion. And you'd think ants wouldn't stand a chance at doing anything remotely intelligent. But here's the twist. Ants don't need huge brains to do amazing things. In fact, some researchers believe ants may actually process information more efficiently, pound for pound, than humans. Their brains are designed for specialized tasks. They don't waste energy thinking about what doesn't matter. Instead, they focus on survival, coordination, communication, and they do it astonishingly well. For example, some ants are expert navigators. Desert ants can walk hundreds of meters across featureless sand dunes, find food, and return to their nest with almost perfect accuracy. They don't use GPS. They don't even leave chemical trails like many other species do. Instead, they rely on an internal pedometer, counting their steps, and they use the angle of the sun to guide them. That's a type of dead reckoning that would make some hikers jealous. Other ants rely heavily on pheromones, chemical signals they lay down to guide one another. When an ant finds food, it lays a chemical trail back to the colony. Other ants pick up on that trail, follow it, and reinforce it with more pheromones if they find the food still there. If not, the trail fades away. Over time, this decentralized process actually leads the colony to optimize the path to the food, essentially solving a mathematical problem with no planning, no map, and no leader. It's not unlike how computer algorithms solve shortest path problems, and in fact, ant behavior has inspired some of those algorithms. But it gets even more fascinating. Leafcutter ants are essentially farmers. They cut leaves and carry them back to their underground nests, not to eat, but to use as compost for growing fungus. That fungus is their food. Think about that. They cultivate a crop. They manage mold and parasites. They rotate fungus beds. That's agriculture millions of years before humans even thought of it. And then there are army ants, which are like tiny living battalions. They don't have permanent homes, they're nomadic. And when they move, they do so in massive, coordinated swarms. Some colonies include hundreds of thousands of individuals moving as one. They build living bridges with their own bodies, allowing others to walk across gaps. They organize raids. They surround prey with coordinated maneuvers. They even carry their injured back to the colony. Some researchers have observed ants recognizing and assisting injured nestmates, increasing the chances of survival. That's starting to sound a little like battlefield triage, isn't it? Even more amazing, ants organize traffic better than we do. On busy trails between a nest and a food source, they form lanes. Ants heading toward food stay to one side, and those returning to the colony stay to the other. This reduces congestion, increases efficiency, and happens entirely without instruction. No traffic lights, no signs, no cops, just pheromones and local rules that somehow create intelligent global behavior. Try getting humans to do that during rush hour. Now, let's talk about memory and learning. Some species of ants have been shown to remember complex mazes. Place them in a labyrinth once and they explore it cautiously. Place them in it again, and they'll go straight to the exit or food. That's memory. That's learning. They can even generalize from one maze to another with similar patterns. Not bad for a creature we often dismiss as mindless. In recent years, scientists have begun to question whether ant colonies should be considered superorganisms. That is, a collective of individuals functioning as a single entity. It's not just poetic metaphor. The ants' division of labor, communication systems, reproductive roles, and immune-like responses to disease mirror the internal organization of a body. One ant might be the equivalent of a cell. Together they make a whole. Think about that for a second. It's not that any one ant is smart. It's that the colony as a whole possesses intelligence. Intelligence that emerges from interaction. Some scientists are even exploring the idea that a colony might possess a kind of distributed consciousness, or at least the capacity for group decision-making in real time. When faced with a problem, say a broken nest entrance or a collapsed tunnel, ants don't just wait around. They explore, they test solutions, they share information. They act. Not randomly, but collectively, and often effectively. Ant colonies can even respond to pandemics. When ants detect a fungal infection or a contagious disease inside the nest, they isolate the infected individuals. They clean the area. Some ants will even remove infected larvae or move the entire colony to a new location. It's like public health behavior, quarantine and sanitation, executed without any education or leadership. Again, let that sink in. And all of this happens without a brain in charge. No queen telling others what to do. The queen lays eggs, she's not a ruler. The behavior of the colony emerges from local rules, interactions, and feedback loops. It's nature's version of a decentralized, self-organizing system. Something humans are only just learning how to model in computers and organizations. So, when we ask, how smart are ants really? We need to expand our definition of intelligence. If intelligence is about surviving in complex environments, solving problems, communicating effectively, adapting to change, and working cooperatively, then ants check every single box. They don't think like we do. But that doesn't make them less intelligent. It makes them differently intelligent. Alien, even, but deeply impressive. In a way, ants force us to confront our own cognitive biases. We tend to think bigger brains mean better thinking, that humans are the pinnacle of intelligence. But the natural world keeps reminding us, intelligence comes in many forms. Some of them are hidden in plain sight. Crawling across your kitchen floor, building cities underground, farming fungus, waging wars, and communicating through invisible chemicals. So, next time you see an ant, stop for a second. Watch it. Think about the invisible network it's part of. Think about the thousands of decisions being made by creatures no bigger than a sesame seed. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see ants not just as pests, but as one of nature's most brilliant inventions. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the surprising intelligence of nature, and leave a comment below. What's the smartest animal or insect you've ever seen? I'll see you in the next one.